Travis Wayne Goodsell. So here we are, conference weekend. And the signs in the heavens indicate that Mormons are going to be given an announcement for a burden, a sacrifice of some kind or another, as I did that video the other day. And so, in and of itself, with just the moon at the mouth of Leo the lion, it should be significant to get Mormons' attention, but I'm the only one who knows about this. And so I'm willing to bet not a single other person knew about this in advance of me doing my videos. The majority of you are new. You do not know me. And so you're going to be upset with me when you watch the other videos. And it's because ignorance breeds hate, and hate breeds violence. The church has purposely made us dumb. They've dumbed us down. They don't want us to know the truth. And even though the Joseph Smith papers have been released by the church, they're not correcting anything. There's a whole bunch of corrections that need to be made. And they say it's the authoritative source for all things Joseph Smith. But they're not making any of the necessary changes. So pay attention to that during conference. If they refer to our canon of Scripture without the correction from the Joseph Smith papers, you can see that they're purposely trying to deceive you. There are lots of corrections. The biggest correction is the name of the church. The church tells us it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That we're Christian, Jesus is our Christ. And thus ignorance. 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2. The learning of the Jews. We are not Christian. We're not supposed to be, if we truly had Joseph Smith as our founder. But this church, through the canon, says Joseph Smith is wrong about everything. He's wrong about the name of the church. He's wrong about who visited him. In the first vision and in the second vision, he's wrong about the gold plates. He's wrong about the Book of Mormon being the learning of the Jews. The church instead brainwashes us to impose Christianity with Jesus in the Book of Mormon because it's on the cover. Another testament of Jesus Christ. And so then when we get to 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2, learning of the Jews, our brain skips it for some weird reason. And we only see Jesus. And so you do not see that the Book of Mormon is a book of revelation, just like the Book of Revelation. In fact, John's revelation in chapter 12, that sign, the big sign, that's all over the Bible, right there in the beginning of the Book of Mormon with Lehi's dream. That's it. The 12 stars following Jupiter, which is the sun, Emmanuel, the sun at noonday. Just depends on which language you're using, Latin or Egyptian. Jupiter is the Roman version of the Egyptian Amun. There is so much that they've lied to us about. They will not tell us the truth. And they won't let you in on what's going on. Amos 3:7 says that they're supposed to be warning us in advance of all of the troubles of the latter days. And yet, despite having spent many decades encouraging Mormons to get a year's supply of food, guess what happened in the latter days? They went silent. They could have told us. Aren't they prophets? Aren't they seers? Aren't they revelators? Aren't they... Oh, they don't ever claim translator. These blatant things are so obvious to anybody who is on the outside, because those of us on the inside miss it, because the church tells us to miss it. They tell us we're Christian, it's Jesus. Everything must be interpreted that way. And that's a lie. That's wrong. And so it weaponizes you to commit crimes, to attack other people, even though you think it's your religious freedom. And you don't understand that when you put a thumbs down on my videos or other critics' videos, that's the church having weaponized you. You're refusing to listen. You're refusing to believe. And it's worse when you get people like Rob this morning, who's trying to threaten me to silence. And not only threatening me to silence, but insulting me. Insulting my appearance. What kind of a Mormon is that? He says, instead of spending your time talking so much accusation, so much accusation, cell phones need to go away. Why go out and look someone to fulfill your being as human being? He doesn't understand my videos. I'm warning you. The church is lying to us. The church is causing harm to us. The church is weaponizing us. That's not good for a human being to do. We're supposed to be loving, helping our neighbors, trying to lift up each other, not tear each other down. And instead, I have to go on the defensive time and time and time again, because Mormons defend the church that is causing them harm. And he says, your face is annoying, going after my appearance, as if you knows everything. I do know everything. Do you not forget? Do you not remember? Moroni, chapter 10, verses 3 through 5. All of you use it as your excuse not to learn, not to study. Read, ponder, pray, get a spiritual witness feeling you're good, you know everything. So he's claiming he knows everything because he's accusing me of knowing everything. But I sit before you as one who has a witness, a testimony that that passage is correct as it is written, not as it is incorrectly misinterpreted, incorrectly understood. You left out manifestation. That's a physical manifestation. It's not a spiritual witness. You've added a new word, a new concept, because you don't understand what the word by means, or through. Which one do they use? By the power of the Holy Ghost you may know the truth of all things. By. It's not, you've gotten the Spirit, you now know everything. No, it's by the power. You don't understand what the power is. You don't understand the process to get that knowledge. Once you get revelation, once you get an idea, you have to replicate it in the flesh. And once you replicate it in the flesh, you can now judge it. Is it good Spirit that inspired me to do this? Or do I need to not listen to that voice anymore? Because they're giving me bad things to do. Like attack Travis for warning me of the dangers. I only use the scriptures and the words of Joseph Smith. And Mormons hate it. They deny it. They attack me for using it. What's wrong with you? You have created a whole new religion of Jesus Christ Mormonism, and you refuse to acknowledge the blatantly obvious written for us that needs to be referred to the Joseph Smith papers for corrections, but still, learning of the Jews Mormons, because all the scriptures all of a sudden make sense when you use the learning of the Jews. It's their scriptures. The Book of Mormon. It's not literal history. Neither is the Bible, because it's the learning of the Jews. Everybody misses that. Brigham Young did exactly what Roman Emperor Constantine did to the Jews. He did it to Joseph Smith. And all of us throughout the whole world have been conned by both Roman Emperor Constantine and Brigham Young. Because this church of Brigham Young is the more dominant one. And so they get to tell the story. They're rewriting history. Just as the Holy Roman Empire did too. And I've warned you, as the message for conference indicates, you're going to be asked to make a sacrifice this conference weekend. Not just to hear the words of the 12, even though it's the 9 for Leo, but Utah, Judah. Leo is the symbol of Judah, phonetically the same as Utah. I know, it's weird. And then you have Samson, who happens to correspond with the Philistine temple of Salt Lake City, the Salt Lake Temple, with the lion house and the beehive house. He kills a lion, and then a beehive grows in its carcass. And so he's eating the honey. It's a restaurant. The lion house is a restaurant. I mean, that's just too weird. But those are prophecies of our learning of the Jews' Christ. And so, Jesus Christ Mormonism is Jesus. And he doesn't exist because Roman Emperor Constantine created him. Along with Christianity. Didn't exist prior to that. He created it. He created Jesus Christ. Learning of the Jews Christianity, it is Christianity, but learning of the Jews Mormonism. It's a different Christ. See, there, Joseph Smith is our founding Christ. For Jesus Christ Mormons, that's blasphemy. as well as Christianity. No duh. But we're not Christian. We're not supposed to be. Joseph Smith was not. Why are you saying he is? Because the church told you to. And so you don't know that for the latter days, you're supposed to be looking for another human being who is going to be Mormon, according to Joseph Smith, section 103, verse 16. That refers to the man like Moses, and he says he's going to be a Mormon. The man like Moses is the Jewish Christ from Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. That's who the Jews are waiting for. That's who the Jews are looking for. And he must fulfill all the prophecies. Jesus doesn't. I can testify as a witness. He does. Because I've searched for him, knowing this is who I'm supposed to be looking for. I went through the scriptures. I checked all of the prophecies to make sure he fulfills every single one, because I don't want to be deceived. And I have found him. I have identified him. Why haven't you done that? Right. Got it. And so if you're thinking you can start now, do the search as I did, it's kind of the final hour. Because we've been in the latter days since 2017. That's the first year of the latter days. That's the year the Book of Mormon starts us off with. This is the ministry, according to the learning of the Jews, remember? For this, it's Roman period literal history. For this, it's prophecy of the latter days. That's why they start with the birth. It's the start of the ministry. And wouldn't you know it, Matthew tells us his start in the ministry is in Utah. He's here. He's among you. And you know him not. He's been warning you. He's hoping you'll hearken to him so that he can save your lives. Like in the Terminator, come with me if you want to live. But it's pretty serious, because Mormons haven't been hearkening, and Mormons have been dying in large numbers. Even I've noticed it on my channel. I have 800 subscribers. I had 800 yesterday. 2 more were added today, which means I lost 2 yesterday. That's expected. You will be offended. You have to change your mind. That is the correct translation of the Greek word that is mistranslated as repent. You need to change your mind of all false beliefs and believe in correct things so that you can produce the results. And so for conference, we'll see the normal format in practice. They haven't announced, from what I understand, what the Saturday evening session will be. I don't know if we know which organization that will be. They've been upset with us, with me, for exposing that women were silent for that October. And so they had to come out angrily telling us they can do whatever they want. But again, they're lying to us, which means we can't trust them. Everything they say is a lie. And case in point, with the Joseph Smith papers, this year is the bicentennial year of the second vision. Remember 2020? The first vision? Big old bicentennial celebration. Nelson mentioned in October. And it ended up being just a Saturday session instead. They had a whole year planned for events, and nope. Got downgraded to a Saturday session for April conference. But September 22nd is before conference. And so if they're going to mention anything about it, it would need to be this conference. Pay attention to anybody who will make a reference to it. The Joseph Smith papers corrects a lot of it. It is Nephi, not Moroni, for example. Nelson has already come out knowing of the Joseph Smith papers and turned it into golden plates. He's already been lying about the second vision. It is gold plates, and I've been doing my videos telling you why. It has to do with the Knights Templar and the Holy Grail. The bloodline of the Christ, learning of the Jews. But this is the last year of the latter days. 8 April 2024 is it. That's the final day, the third day of darkness. This year is the day that shall burn as an oven, according to Joseph Smith. That's why this year is so vital for you guys. This is why I was hoping that I could reach as many of you as I can for this conference, because we may not have another conference. The Joseph Smith papers tells us that Zion is not here in Utah, as Nelson tells us it is. It is not even in Missouri, because Joseph Smith said so, and it wasn't published in our canon because Brigham Young didn't like being called Judas. It's Southern Illinois, and Southern Illinois is where the first and third day of darkness cross over the United States of America. Emmanuel, the sun god at noonday, the path of God over America that leads to the location X marks the spot of the New Jerusalem and Zion, the mountain cities of the Lord. But as Mormons, they're not built. And so you miss the Exoduses. You've missed a whole lot of stuff. I've been doing these videos the whole time. You can see that I was telling you about it in the beginning. In July 2017, that's my most popular video still, because the church knows about me. Other Mormons who criticize the church are excommunicated. Not me. The church has targeted me for assassination instead. All these years, the church has been trying to murder me, trying to assassinate me. because of the knowledge I know. I do know everything, Rob, because I followed the precept in the Book of Mormon, and I can testify that it is true because I have lived it and produced the results. That's what the Book of Mormon is supposed to be for, so that you live the precepts, not go around demanding that the stories be considered literal history. You've missed the whole point. And so the church wants their kingdom back. The great and abominable church. And they've been doing everything to get it. And this is the final year, even though Nelson has extended the second coming until 1926. 2026. With the delays in the temple construction. You have no idea that my being here is a miracle. Being able to still speak with you after all these years. You've missed so much. And YouTube doesn't make it easier for you to go back and find them. You know, I have playlists, but I wish I would have known in the beginning how to set up my channel. Because now it's too late. I have to spend weeks redesigning it. YouTube is not creator friendly. But the church is committing crimes and making you commit the crimes. Polygamy. 2019, Nelson ordered men to divorce their wives and ordered the wives who get divorced from their husband to accept the new sealing to new wives. That's the loophole. The legal loophole that the church has been doing this whole time, but Nelson finally made it official and ordered it with a change in the law of chastity. And so I don't know how many of you are obedient. I hope none of you. But because I have not been excommunicated, I'm still sealed to my second ex. The first ex, she demanded that the sealing be canceled because she wanted to get sealed to another man. But that was after. She demanded the year after she got a divorce up in Canada from me. And no, I'm not Canadian. Californian. Born in Northern California, among the cedars of Lebanon. For the United States, anyway. It's a different kind of plant, but the oak trees and the redwoods are the closest equivalent to the cedars of Lebanon. And so, you've not been watching my channel. You do not know why I'm saying cedars of Lebanon. All of this seems strange to you because you're still grappling with this. You do not understand the learning of the Jews, their manner of prophesying, their book of Revelation. And so the temples, it's a land grab. They're purposely buying up land in Utah to take it back, because what have they done with the law? The Respect for Marriage Act now has the exemption clause that the church put in there. And once they buy up all of Utah, well, it's all religious land. And as a religion, they're exempt from the law of the United States of America. Do you not see one of the ways they're trying to take back their kingdom? But they also know of the destruction of governments. So they're also preparing for that. They've actually paid others to help cause this. Where is that temple in Russia, by the way? Oh, there's a war in Ukraine. Oh, it just happens to coincide with Bruce R. McConkie's chapter heading in Ezekiel chapter 38. They are purposely bringing about the prophecies of the latter days to destroy, so that their kingdom can reign for the millennium. And there will be polygamy, there will be child brides, there will be slavery, there will be murder. But there will not be Jesus. The Book of Mormon and the works of Joseph Smith do not belong to this church. They must give them back. They need to stop the tithing protection racket. If it were donations, there would be no problem. They'd be like any other religion. But it's forced, because it's number 10 in the worthiness interviews. Paying money is not equivalent with worthiness. That's the protection racket, and it's a crime. And everything else they do, likewise, becomes a crime. The SEC? Yeah, because it's a crime. The IRS should be doing something, and they're not, because they've been violating the IRS tax laws. And so I saw the tornadoes coming in advance. The destruction on America that we've been having this past week. I've always been watching. I use VentureSky.com. I used to warn in advance of specific storms that I saw coming on that site. Nobody would hearken. And I even got lots of thumbs down. But this time around, after the midterms, I gave a general warning of what to expect, because the Book of Mormon told me so. We're going to have natural disasters. And here we are. We got them. We had massive record snowfall, which is going to cause flooding. Because the floodwaters are closing up again. You missed the Exoduses, where the waters were parted so that we could pass through on dry land to go to Zion. And now the waters are closing back in, because we're in the final year. Like I said, you've missed it. You chose The lazy way out. Or as Nelson's called you, lazy learners. But the church sabotages you. They purposely make you lazy learners and then accuse you of being lazy learners after you've done what they told you to be. How cruel is that? And so pay attention. There are things happening in this nation and in the world. And so I will tell you right now as a warning voice, even though it's in the final hour, the final minute, 2 minutes to midnight. If I don't write it down, I won't remember. Get yourself as much of a supply of food and provisions and emergency stuff as possible. Digitize as much as you can, as quick as you can. Because we're now at the time where we need to rush. I'm backlogged on things to do. I've had to do it alone this whole time. I do have some help, but it's long distance help. And so I'm concerned as I'm working with the history of the people and the entire destruction of the Mormons. Because that's what's prophesied, the fall of the great and abominable church. That's the symbols that are in the signs in the heavens right now. Warning Mormons one final time to pay attention. This is it. The end is near. And unfortunately, these won't listen.